The Holy Bible is made of 66 books. When dealing with the Bible, I'm talking God. Man would try to knock that and say the Bible was written by man. Is that the evidence for saying there was no God? But many times it is. I would need you to understand the men that wrote the Bible were ordained by God, beginning with Moses and what is known as the first five. Man indeed wrote a book about God creating man and still tells us all scripture is given by inspiration of God. In just one voice, God is saying the Bible is for me, not man, although they are the writer. If I look at God, I'm looking towards creation. As I say many times, notice in creation, God has to be his creator. Breaking down creation in chapter 1, I would like to give different sections. There are counter arguments around it. The first section, dealing with the first verse, is broken down from number 1 to you arrive at verse number 13, while down to the 19th verse dealt with your lights. Verse 20 through 25 were a group of certain animals. If you want to tune in on 1 through 13, this argument is in the beginning. God created the heaven and the earth. This section of God's creation is being tackled today by the Big Bang Theory, a theory released in the 1920s dealing with how the universe began. When God already in 1445 through 1405 BC dealt with the beginning. If you were to look at the creation of man talked about in the 26 through 27 verse of chapter 1, all men were created equal, as God made them not to be superior to one another, as he dealt with them all at the same time. Alongside this part of the creation of God, this is the most believed theory of human creation. Humans share a common ancestor with apes. In other words, humans come from apes. Fossil records show it wasn't modern apes, it was this great ape. This is Charles Darwin, natural selection, the theory of evolution. In the early 19th century, Jean-Baptiste Lamarck, 1744 to 1829, proposed his theory of the transmutation of species, the first fully formed theory of evolution. In 1858, Charles Darwin and Alfred Russel Wallace published a new evolutionary theory explained in detail in Darwin's On the Origin of Species. 1859, this is AD. This is the history and the background of our origins. Today we are going to be dealing with the many issues that fall under creation versus what else. The proposition is trying to bring in the fact that a creator is very much valued in this argument. So we will be dealing with 3 issues in this topic: the issue of heaven, the issue of earth, and finish with the issue of man. What does the existence of heaven mean? Heaven alone makes God real, which is why creation stands alone, because every other argument does not agree with heaven. Sources need to support the existence. Now, without heaven, it makes God a lie, because God created the heaven. There was no other explanation for heaven besides God. Heaven proves there was something higher than us here on earth. His rain would be an example of that, when the water drips down from on high instead of shooting up. The good thing about heaven is that it would help us explain the many languages of men. Not going in depth with the biblical story, the problem is this is a missing argument, because no other theory has explained otherwise how language originated. Often brings us down to the argument of creation, in dealing with who, or in some cases what, is the creator. Of being created is not an issue, as the Big Bang Theory does agree with creation, as they would go and recommend that the atoms are the founding creator of the universe, which brings us into the argument of God versus atom, as that would have to remove ape. However, the atom sides with ape because it removes God, referencing all of their sources. In whatever case you run with, a creator still stands. Dealing with the creator, we would have to bring in the missing argument of the number 9. God is known as the only one that existed before creation, but they will still ask who created God. We're looking at the atoms today. There were 2 said to bring forth the universe, but this question is not asked. Using numbers to argue this topic, before 2 there had to be 1, which is the missing piece in argument 2 verse 1, as 1 would let us know zero stood before it. Well, on today, we want to focus on how man was created. Man being created is unarguable, but the argument here is 5 minutes God versus ape. As God was set to create man, and the ape was set to change into man by formal reproduction, go in time. The ape produced man, which we're going to say the ape created man. Well, the counter argument to that is God created apes on the same day, actually before he made man, day 6. But man goes to argue against that day. Man has become an issue with his theories. These theories are messing with theology. Well, when arguing creation, we can never knock the fact that there is a creator. The creator of heaven is God. As these theories don't want heaven, something higher than us, to exist because they're removing God. So now man is lost in finding the creator of earth and himself. As we deal with the issues of this topic, let us never make it an issue that a creator is indeed a part of creation's argument. On today, we will be closing the remaining portions of this origin debate. I want you to notice that both sides have bold statements, but there are missing pieces to the subject. Is evolution and Big Bang Theory, listen, trying to tackle creation or just work his way around it? Be humble. In dealing with creation, there are some pieces that evolution and Big Bang Theory won't discuss, as other pieces have opposing arguments to it. First off, time is not an issue. Let us put a seal to this thing that the beginning is formally stated as the beginning. Past arguments or speeches have let us know what the opposer states. On today, I will be focusing on trying to persuade you to the truth, in my opinion, is the best solution. How many know in evolution, what can you explain? But in creation, what do you know? Simply how in evolution the theory being to change, let me question it, that the light and darkness divide. What I'm trying to say is they have a reason for man. They even have a reason for the coming together of the place. And let me say in evolution, there is no heaven or hell. This is just earth and life. I wonder what type of people are you to believe in an afterlife. And I'm not talking about a heaven or hell type of life, simply about the one talking about when you die and come back, what type of animal did you want to be? There was some who said, I want to be a dog. Others who said, I wanted to be a lion. Yeah, there were those folk, and some wondered if that would happen. What I'm trying to say is, why would these people be listed? Why would those people be listed? What I'm trying to say is, why would those people be listed under creation? Only because they believed that God could do it. How many know God did not under any topic, especially when God is the topic? Oh God, wonder how I got off topic. There were those who believed in karma, that what you do comes back to you. I'm on SoundTrap, about to be on SoundCloud, but don't worry, one day this sound will play out the cloud. I'm preaching in a cloud. Talk to me, saints. Yeah, they believed in many things, but perhaps they did not believe in our God. They're going to hell. Yeah, boy, let me holler at you for a minute. Regardless of what you believe on, meaning there has to be some type of creator. Whoa, that is not the problem. When I look at evolution, I see the creator would have to be those two atoms. And I'm glad somebody believe in an atom. Boy, but when I look at God, I see in creation, he has to be his creator. In other words, he is the maker. And with God, all things are possible. So that would just be a skill, which is a small thing of possible. Let me just say to those in the rapture, God loved you so much, you can never say God never gave a chance. How many know when you see God, you are at perfect peace with God? There were some who seen the Son and believed so easy in God because they were seeing God. God loved you so much, he sent his only Son to die. God loved him so much, he made sure to raise him. With evolution being true, what is the Jesus case? What I'm saying is evolution tackles so many things, but it really opens a door for so many questions. The one like when the two atoms came together, how quick did it create something? What type of math did you have to use for that? With evolution being around, how did a month or a day, maybe even a week come around? Yeah, I wonder what time being here. Did I start before, during, or after creation? What I'm trying to say is with the creator, there simply has to be some type of creation. In Genesis 1:1, the Bible states that in the beginning God created the heaven and the earth. But what the Bible does not do is fill in the rest of just our solar system and in what time. If I question evolution, that question would be, what did your two atoms how create? Or how did we know there were two atoms? What did that number come from? Was that the atoms or the numbers forced? Why is there so many questions in just your beginning of your portion? Simply because God is not the author of confusion. And how many know the devil still works for God? It is man who disrespects him. The missing pieces make this argument what it is, while the argument is missing pieces of what it is attacking. However, we cannot knock the fact that this did happen in the beginning. All that raw talk, they couldn't say nothing. Sit there with a quiet stare and blank look on your face. Let me speak just a little while longer, or could I speak a while bit longer? I thought of that phrase the other day and said, out of them there. I mean, how long would you talk? Wonder if anybody in here took time to speak to y'all. Oh, I gotta say it, even if they don't want to hear. I said I got some earphones for you to listen to music. There is a you in you. And let me say, you can determine the you. It is horrible to see kids love to hear the words of rapper, but as soon as it's the word of God, they want to shut down and up. Well, let me say, you can't do both. As I sat there and spoke to the officers of America, how many know an order was set in one nation under God? There is a freedom of speech. Can we say shut up? As disrespectful as it, can we say it? Well, let me just say, you can't make nobody be quiet as soon as you try to shut down their vocal cord. That's a ticket, one nation under God. Freedom of speech. Kids stood up in class to talk about God, the creator of man. How could one nation under God with the freedom of speech ever try to stop the word of God? Folk act like they're angels preach. Folk act like they got no character, talk, and definitely got no more care for others. Follow the script. The only character you see is the role that the actor play. We love movies and we love to act, just got no sovereign character. Folk gotta get back to doing what is right. And Hollywood is America's movie foundation, supporting everything America say is crime, as if it don't influence the youngins to grow up as a prison slave. Talk, and monkey see, monkey do, and look society compare you to that animal-loving ancestors. They want you to throw your bananas too, so somebody trip and hurt themselves. Talk, act like the word caring and character if you want to. What type of character you got when nothing matters to you except the eyes you're looking out of? Yeah, you may be looking out of your eyes, but you still looking at something. Jesus died for everybody around him, but that's not these people. They rather kill everybody around them and go hopping a riot yelling Black Lives Matter. Well, baby, black ain't blue or red, so why we tripping? Listen to me. Let me say that again with a twist, so you know what I mean. Black ain't blue or red, so what color of lives matter? Blue or red don't got no skin, so it look like you care about your clothes. Oh God, today, since the early days of the Bible, God had commanded thou shalt not kill. But folk are rebellious, disrespectful, and definitely not obedient to the word of God. Let the king talk to you right about now. If you be well and obedient, you shall eat the good of the land. But if you refuse and rebel, you shall be devoured by the sword. Since the days of Adam, God had already exampled the scene as the human race was taught. Disobedience will not go unnoticed. Now let me say unpunished. Preach about the Bible, and how many know not too long after Noah came on through there with a smooth light. And let me teach a lesson, the righteous shall be saved. Talk. Oh Jesus, by the time Abraham came along, how many know trusting in the Lord will never fail you? And then there was Egypt, the nation who's seen success in the favor of the Lord, and the nation who's seen the downfall without him. Oh God, how many know Moses? When you work for God, God works for you. Somebody say the Red Sea. And when you think Joshua, somebody said the Lord won't fail. Before we get to the book of praises, God had gave many extra reasons, even besides of a creation of why we would. Women around want praise, not knowing the Creator is greater than that. Any men that want a hand clap ought to be able to show you 10 books of why he deserved it. Jesus sacrificed his life for you in a time period you wasn't in. You can't love him more than anything. What's wrong with us? Husband put a ring on it, but how many know Christ put a Christ on it, or should I say a life on it? Looking at the resurrection, is it safe to say he lived his life for his friends? But when will the friends live for him? Enemies of God, this is not a game. Now tell me who can compete. Now, old preacher Hall would have said, pull, boom. Jesus Christ is so great, he didn't pick a friend to die for. No, baby, he dies for all the friends at the same time. How many know he didn't pick one because he has loved all of his friends as it looks the same and great? How many know we got to be Christ-like? We got to follow the example all the time. Oh, holla at your boy. Somebody say holla, now holla back. Move on a little bit longer and keep the message what you would call a sermon very slim. Christ said, let me die the death of what their sin brought back to a race. Of looking at life, you understand Jesus, but what you understand is life never stayed down, it got up. What folk don't understand is as well as you are in life, life is in you. Old saint said, how is that preacher? And I'd stare at that church like a mirror and say it just like this. You live in life, so you are in it. But there was a breath of what? Life on the inside you. Somebody's not believing as they really understand that, sitting down, listening to the talker. We gotta get back to the book of creation. There was only one, and it's called Genesis. It would go to teach you about the beginning times of the Creator, who we say God to. Nobody want to question creation, just tackle it as they question the story. Baby, if you want to know anything about God, it's in the book. But besides that, get in prayer, put it in Jesus' name, so it's received up to God, as God will teach you what you need to know about what you want to learn. Heaven is above earth and not on it. God answer your prayer, but not your phone. Who call it? I only call God because I trust no man but God. Or why do I trust him? Well, I trust him because God already know what's made a man. Yes. I don't want to cut this off. I could roll on like a bowling ball or a rock that they moved from the tomb. The moment you realize that the death and resurrection of Christ is real, you realize he already died. Don't need to do it again. And let me say, don't need to do it again. Live on. Let me say, live on. But you will also understand one thing about it, which is the angels that spoke to Mary. Now, do you believe? See, you can believe in man doing the works of God for God because that's all about God. Or go focus on man who care nothing about God. I don't know about you, but I don't trust man because there's so many of them and they're just not real. But because God is the only one who keeps it real, I trust him. God is such a God, he already knew who you should trust, and he taught you before you get your heart broken, just trust God. See, people love to hear about a creator, just not God. Folk are off and act like God is not real on the throne. As I sit down, I look at all of them like they made of glass just to see what they don't believe, and I tell them God is real. God is very peculiar in his movements. Whether it was the movement of his actions, the movement of his strength, the movement of his body, or let me throw this one in there for the Lord, the movement of his mouth. Let God speak to you today. How many know, looking at Jesus, he got a certain doctrine that the people can't touch? Somebody would say, you saying all this about me, would look in the mirror and Jesus would tell him, get the mote out of your own eye before you point out the beam in your brother. Somebody said, what's the Lord's doctrine? It's a doctrine that has always kept you focused. Can we say amen? Every time you pray in Jesus' name, say amen. Men need prayer. Can we say amen to that? Folk don't believe in prayer and they've never tried it. I'm not going to preach on prayer right now, but I bet I'll get you to that point. Let me say something as usual. If God gave you a phone number, you would call. But because God's contact is through prayer, folk are just not humble enough to sit down on their knees like bowing to God and pray. I said, baby, you don't want to talk that bad. Somebody said, why won't God speak to us? When you look at the days of creation, nobody would respond to God. Oh, it was right there where we found out that God has blessings 2,000 years in AD. It's not creation, but there are still folk that are witnesses to the blessings of God. Same man as a believer. Oh, how many know God blessed the animals, God blessed the day, but how many know that God blessed man? Mankind corrupt. Whatever happened since the beginning of creation, well, God would say it is good, but when Jesus came, he said, no, there was none good but God. He said only one, and that's God. Everybody hear the word bad. Ain't that bad to y'all? No, but don't nobody like good no more. Let me throw this at you like a golf ball in a hole that's gonna roll on you. it's gonna roll on. You don't like bad food, you want to throw it in the trash. But your actions, it get bad and everybody want to hold on to it. Somebody said, what's the difference? I don't know what's wrong with people quick to stand up for somebody at a funeral as they lead them there and hold on. We've been told what to do, but it like we need to be fixed. The way you act make me think we need to be robots. God loved us to the point of giving us all free will and what to see, what we would do. God only commanded Adam not to eat the fruit, but didn't control him not to eat it. Is somebody learning something today? I want to get you to a point to where I can really preach as I say that right here. Let me throw in a message. Is that all right? And oftentimes we say one nation under God, and as good as it sounds, I'd have to stop and ask you today, are we really one nation under God? God looks out for the land. He says to obey the laws of the land. But when has this nation ever looked out to make sure we are walking in God's commandments? We can skip homosexuality and it still does not exist. I'd like to demonstrate a hate group to you today that is theoretically known as America's secret weapon. Following the end of the American